It's an interview with Svami Atmananda, recorded on June 6, 1993, in Mission Viejo, California. So, Svami Atmananda, it is a pleasure to have you in Los Angeles and to have you speak at the UFO Expo West 1993. I think you're probably the very first Indian sadhu or holy man who has ever addressed the West on this topic. Can you tell us very briefly how you got involved in this UFO ET research?
Om Tat Sat. This planet where we live in, according to the Vedic scriptures, is considered as the most important. And the human species of life on this planet is considered also as the most significant life force on this planet. So in the Vedic study, there is always the question, technically known as Brahma Jigyasa, means knowing the truth. And this truth consists of matter, spirit and controller. And when we discuss matter, it consists of truth relating to matter gross and matter subtle. My life has been, from the beginning, commissioned to this mission of investigating through all different possible evidence through the study of Vedic literatures and practice of yoga, how subtle energy or subtle matter is the basis and control of gross matter. In fact, I have a mission in my life for this purpose, to educate this subject matter to people according to necessity. The subject of UFOs or ETs or alien entities may not be spoken so much by Indian sadhus while addressing the Western audiences, but it is a well-known subject in India. It is nothing new, and it is just that for some time recently the interaction between living beings on different other dimensions of Earth and also living beings from other planets have become little more manifest, and there are valid reasons for that. This has been the subject matter for my research for the past 15 years.
Swamiji, you said you were commissioned. This has been your commission or your mission. Can you tell us who commissioned you? Are your methods the same as, say, Western experts in doing their UFO research? How do your methods differ from the methods, say, employed in the West?
Well, there are two different ways of ascertaining knowledge about any subject matter. One is known as the ascending method, and another is known as the descending method. Descending method means the information is handed down by authorities. Even in the Western method of UFO research, you find there are a lot of individuals have been used as instruments. In other words, there are people wanting to propagate some message by channelizing these people. So this is one method. This method is known as the descending method. That means you receive information from some authority. Only problem with this will be that sometimes somebody who is not an authority may pose as an authority, or sometimes someone may want to give some wrong information and propagate it, for various vested interests. It may come from various fields of people who are concerned about the subject matter of UFO, because people do get scared, people do get confused when they hear some paranormal subject matter. So to keep the people in peace, there are various authorities who may also like to spread different type of information rather than the truth. So my method of taking information about this subject matter from my childhood has been that I have some informants, you may call them contactees, from different dimensions. Some are from this planet who are living on a different dimension, and some are from a higher planet known as Kailash. So these candidates have been giving me informations, giving me some guidance, giving me some instructions how to go about the research and how to find out the truth and how to instruct others on this subject matter.
Swami, you mentioned different dimensions, beings from different who are here, but maybe in a different dimension. I think most Western experts, they think and talk in terms of extraterrestrial, meaning beings from some other planet besides Earth. But you're introducing the concept of an inter or extra-dimensional living being.
Most of the mechanical devices which are observed, cited in the UFO phenomena, they are from different dimensions from the same planet. According to many of my informants and also my direct experiences sometimes, most of these machines are flying machines and saucers and objects which emit light and which they move like a mechanical machine. These are not from other planets. They are from different dimensions of the same Earth. Interestingly enough, what we see on the world map of or on a globe in our libraries, that is not the full picture of our planet. Of course, whatever is in there is true, but there is more truth to this planet. There are more lands which are not seen in there, which cannot be seen. There are some areas on this planet which cannot be seen by mechanical means. And we are barred from certain zones, certain areas on this planet. There are other living beings, other human beings, little better than Earth, and they are more technically advanced. They are especially, some of them are very interested in space science, and they are also very interested in knowing what is our latest scientific advancement, especially regarding genetical science and also the space science and the weaponry science. So they keep contact and they do visit sometime. They take our ships and our vehicles of traveling, namely airships or sometime ships from the ocean. You are all familiar with the ships disappearing, Bermuda Triangle and some areas like that. So these are all the work of other human beings who are on the same planet but on a different dimension. There are, according to Sankhya description, there are 64 different dimensions that human consciousness can perceive by training. And usually we see 2-3 dimensions maximum. So these are all by practice of yoga and control of mind, if one tunes up the senses, one can be exposed to these dimensions. On the other hand, these alien people, alien to us, but they're not alien to the earth. So if they want to reveal something to us, then they can superimpose their mind over our mind, and in that connection they can show their form the way they are looking, or sometimes they can show their form the way they want us to look at them. And mostly this perception also depends on different cultural and religious background of the individuals. So it's very easy for the alien entities to show something, to show themselves according to the understanding of the person who is seeing. So because it is a mental perception rather than perception by eye, even though one thinks that yes, I am seeing with my eye, actually it is seen by the mind.
So then how can we discern what is really happening out there? We have so many experts, so-called experts, speaking on this topic, writing books, doing lectures, doing videotapes. How can we discern if what they're seeing and what they're reporting on is actually what's happening, and that they're not deceived by some higher technology?
Well, it's the same case with any object of understanding in this world. How can someone discern that the latest model Ford car is good and worth buying? Many people say many different things. Some people want to boost the product, so they will say all good things. Some people want to compete, so they will say all bad things. Or somebody will neutralize the whole thing. So how does one go about any object of knowledge in this world? That is, there are three methods. One is sensual. That means you see, you hear, you touch. This is one method. Another method is that you infer. Like for example, that if many human beings are taken on these ships and they always are done some surgery, and it is always in connection with the procreation system of the human beings, then you can infer that these people are interested in the genes or in the producing capacity of the human. So you can infer. And then on the other method is that if you have some contact with these people, like many individuals have had already, and it's going on, so by receiving authoritative information, one can know. When you receive information, as I told you, there is always be some vested interest, either from our area or from their area or somewhere in between, because there is lot of interest in propagating different theories of how to perfect human life. So people take advantage of this. Just like in any big religious carnival, people come to put up some stalls to sell books and paraphernalia. So similarly, this UFO citations now has become the carnival of the planet. So there are a lot of people taking advantage of it. People are writing books. Some are writing books without even knowing what the subject matter is. They're good writers, so they just write. There are other people who know the subject matter. Maybe they're not good writers, so you don't get information from them. There are a lot of individuals who have cited these things, who have personal experience, who have been abducted, or who have been witness to abduction. Some of them don't want to say anything because they don't want to be disturbed by the press and the TV and the public. And on the other hand, if somebody reveals some information, then other suppression comes, or something which is not according to so-called physics and chemistry, something which is not normal, as they call it, paranormal. So then there is the whole hierarchy of scholars and professors who do not want these informations to be reaching everywhere. So there's official suppression too. So these type of things are quite normal for any phenomena. So if a person is very sincere to understand this subject matter, we have to know one point at this juncture is that these alien people from different dimensions and also from other planets, they have a lot of interest in educating us, the human beings, about this subject matter. See, one becomes very sincere in knowing this, you already have established a contact. So they guide you to get more information. Apart from that, there is an ocean of ancient literature on the subject matter of matter, spirit and controller, planets, cosmology, etc., which we know as Vedas. In fact, in all religious books like Quran and Bible, there are revelations and predictions and informations about the universe and its progress. So there are a lot of sources of information for this. As I mentioned to you before, there are a lot of people who want to give either a non-understanding or a misunderstanding of the phenomena. So the right understanding always seems to be difficult to accomplish. And this is one reason why we are here speaking on this subject. So trying to help out people so that maybe they could compare things and eliminate which is not proper, and then make it useful for humanity at large.
The question of authority is one that's very important. And you mentioned Sankhya, also yoga, and I think establishing your authority for speaking is very important. You are coming on the basis of the Vedas. Could you briefly say what that is, and why should we accept this as authority? Others have advanced other concepts, like there's a message from distant planetary systems, where people are claiming that this is the oldest message, and other things. Why should we accept the Vedas? What is it about the Vedas on which you are basing some of the things that you are saying that we should accept? What is it that makes it so unique and vital at this time for understanding the subject matter?
Well, by the result, one can judge any activity. Suppose anything, any source solves the problems of a phenomena, then one can see that is the authority. That's very simple. Now, Vedas are the source of all information about matter, spirit and controller. And Vedas are non-racial. They are a sound vibration which exists from the beginning of the creation, and they exist through annihilation. According to Vedas, the world is created and annihilated at periods of time. And the material nature, consisting of 25 elements, is eternal. And in different proportions, these elements are mixed and manifested as creation. The age-old book known as Veda, which is later divided for our benefit into 4 books, namely prayers, incantations, songs, and techniques of life, which are known as Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. These are the ancient sound vibrations present on the earth, which describe everything. So this is the authority of Veda. Now, one can check this authority by taking any particular phenomena. For example, you have the phenomena of unidentified flying objects. As far as Vedas are concerned, these are IFOs. They are identified flying objects. The Vedas do identify these machines, and they given in Puranas, for example, Bhavishya Puran, it is predicted that from different dimensions of earth, human beings will interact with us by presenting themselves and bewildering the human beings by presenting themselves on flying machines. So about 15 years ago, I came across this verse in the Bhavishya Purana.
This is very true. This is what is happening right now. There's a lot of confusion over this topic. No one seems to understand the truth of it.
Well, it's natural. Just like if, say, if the Russian spies were here in your country, do you think they would let you identify them? No. So the same way, somebody who's going to an alien area will never like to identify himself properly. Of course, if he can make some contacts which will be helpful for his mission, then he may reveal his identity. This is natural with any mission. If an FBI person comes here to investigate something, he's not going to identify himself unless it is necessary. Rather, he would make you think that he is maybe a bus driver or someone. So this is very natural thing. So Veda's authority is that Vedas have knowledge about everything. That has been, that is now, and that will be. And it gives the timings too, that at this time this happens, this time that happens. Ultimately, there is a whole master plan of the cosmos. And the living beings like us, some powerful, some less powerful, we make our plans within that master plan. As long as our plans don't clash too much with the master plan, we are allowed to have our freedom. So somebody can become a big empire, someone can become a big controller, but in the meantime, when there is clash with the rest of the plan, then certainly interference will be there from higher people. So this the cause of this recent prominence of this UFO phenomena is because there has been a lot of exploitation of material resources and misuse of material resources by human beings on our area. And that disturbs the whole situation, the whole universal situation. So then, immediately close to us, there are people who are getting disturbed, and they interfere. They want to put us on right track. It's very simple.
So what you're saying then is that the environmentalists and all the others who are saying save the whales and save the forest and whatever, this is magnified on a much larger scale, where you have extra-dimensional beings who are now taking an interest in the activities of a careless human population, as we can see them, who are cutting down the forests and killing so many living beings, maybe perhaps for food, and in a sense creating a very dangerous condition for other living beings of other dimensions. How do we come to understand who these beings are? Are there descriptions of who they are? Can we identify them? Are they appearing to us the way they really look, or are they manifesting some other form? Like greys, for example. We're very familiar with the greys, with the large bulging eyes and the egg-shaped face and the spindly appendages. Is that a real form, or is that some concoction just for us human beings to look at, or is that true? Is that a true form?
Well, this is a very interesting subject matter that I have been in contact and working with Dr. Richard Thompson from your country, who has recently come out with a very interesting book on alien entities, which is available here for this workshop.
What is that book called?
Alien Entities.
Alien.
Yes. So this subject matter is very nicely discussed in that book. As far as these figures which look like the plug point on the wall, this is just a trick by these people so that we won't find their identities. They don't look like that, at least according to the informants with whom I have discussed the subject matter. They look much different because there is the idea that ETs, the so-called ETs, they are scary, they look horrible, and this idea is there in the mind of the people. So when they look at them, they present that particular form. One thing we have to understand here is that all perception between different dimensions of existence in this planet, they happen through the medium of mind. And mind is a collection of thoughts. So whatever way we have thought about these entities, that is how we will look at them. And as we present that type of a screen, they immediately utilize, they take advantage of that. So they look like these humanoids, and some of these samples you find in the stalls here, they look quite horrible looking persons. These just different designs of human forms are there, which are all described in the Vedas. There are Kimnaras, Kimpurushas, Yakshas, Vanaras, Charanas. Kim Purusha, actually the literary meaning of this word is what kind of human is he.
It's in Sanskrit.
This is in Sanskrit. Kim means what kind. Purusha means human or male. Kim Nara. Nara means human. Kim means what kind. So the very calling of that species is what kind of human. They have cube-like ears, they have long heads, and they are like sometimes 3 times, 4 times of the height of a very tall human being. They have rays of fire emitting from their fingers. They pull space. Their objects, they move by pulling space. Space molecules are there, according to Sankhya. So these objects, they don't move by some gas or diesel or some kind of a fire produced within the machinery. They rather move by pulling the elements of the molecules of space. And that is done by mental control. And these objects can also change their shapes because of this reason. Every object is made of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, ether and air. And this ether element gives the shape to the object. So the closest to control the ether element is the mind. So this is very advanced technology, and this is present in some dimensions of the earth, and people use machineries to travel by this method. So this is a very vast subject matter. There are accurate descriptions of the 400,000 species of human life in the Vedic literature in various scenes. There may be a story of the king of Delhi meeting a yaksha. You find in the, of course, here we write off some of the books as mythology. The word myth means not true. But the Puranas are not mythology. Puranas are history. Purana, the word Purana means history. Purana means old, as happened in the old times. So the Puranas are recorded history. And in this history there are situations where there were interplanetary travel, and there were interaction between people, human beings of different dimensions. So there the description is given very clearly. Just before the contact is established with an alien person, suddenly everything becomes silent. Suddenly the atmosphere becomes cool. Suddenly the air becomes very thin. Suddenly the person becomes blank in his thinking. And then the entity is present there. So these descriptions are there. Now, whether we take the oldest books of India as authority or not is another subject matter. If some books are giving you information, why not take it? Everybody is burgling their brain. What is this UFO? If someone is telling this is what it is, why not take it?